Hey, this is Peter Park with Redemption Boulevard, and today I want to talk about being vulnerable in the multicultural church. And one of the conversations that I dread having on Sunday mornings is, how are you? And you respond, good, and then you ask the other person, how are you? And then you say, good, and you pretty much, that's the end of the conversation. And in the recent months, going through some challenging things in my life, someone asked me how I was doing during Sunday morning, and I said, it's been a really rough week, and they honestly didn't know what to do with that. And so we had a conversation later on about what that rough week looked like. And so, as I think about being vulnerable, I think, all the more recently, my 2.5-month-old son has been going through some health issues. So we've been at the Children's Hospital. When he was 11 days old, we were there for 2 weeks. And then recently he had surgery again at 2.5 months. And so I've been very trying to be very open in the emails that I send to my friends and family about what's going on. And one of those things is that finances is an issue. I looked at some of the totals for his medical expenses, and they go well over $100,000. And that's something that I've asked people to pray about. We do have insurance, and it covers a lot of that, but there's still other payments and things like that that we need to take care of. And we prayed about having government assistance, and we got that. That was a great thing that we could rejoice together in. And yet still there's other expenses and other dynamics that go on with that. And so I'm reminded of 1 Corinthians 12:26, and that verse comes in the context of the body of Christ working together, and it says, if one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it, and if one part is honored, all the parts are glad. And I was really blessed recently. A good worship leader friend of mine served outside her normal church, and was given an honorarium, and she gave that honorarium to me, which is very timely because we needed to just needed that help with our finances, because my wife is now at a point where she's run out of vacation time, and then is now in unpaid absences from work, and so that's a big hit on our finances. But this has really blessed us in a big way. And as I think about another friend of mine who is trying to buy a house in Clarkston, Georgia, to do ministry more effectively, I've also given him my honorarium for conference that I'm leading in November. And so I'm glad to see how we can really serve one another, and in that way. And that only comes from being vulnerable with one another and being willing to do that. I know it can be hard to be the one to initiate that, but it's so important as we know how to pray more effectively and share with one another. And really makes me think about Acts chapter 2, verses 42 to 47, which says, all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and to sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. Deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders, and all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. And so, the takeaway here, I want you to encourage you to think about how you can be vulnerable at your church, and call on people to pray about some real needs in your life, or even asking people, some of the things that are going on in their lives, and taking the time to listen, whether that's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, which in my experience on Sunday mornings is a lot of time to spend with a person, but it's so important, especially as we develop relationships with people from different ethnicities and backgrounds, and we need to take time to really listen to one another and rejoice with one another and suffer with one another and serve one another. And so those are some of the things that I want to leave you with. Definitely look at those passages again. And this is Peter Park with Redemption Boulevard, where we're awakening to a biblical understanding of worshiping as a multicultural church family.